Hello, good morning. Hello. How's everybody doing? Let's get ready for the week, man. Let's get this day started and get ready for the week. Sorry I wasn't on here yesterday. I wasn't on here yesterday. Everybody woke up early yesterday morning. So I didn't really have time to come on here and run my mouth. I don't know why. That happens every now and then. My I love it in the morning. I know I've talked about this before, but I love in the morning when I get up and I have my me time, you know? I just get to sit here and wake up slowly, you know. But yesterday when I got up between like 5:30 and 6 or something like that, everybody was up. I was like, damn, no time to myself. It's pretty quiet in the house today though. So I figured, well, it's 7 a.m. here in Vegas. I'm gonna see if anybody has anything interesting to talk about. Plus, I'm not waking all the way up either. Been up for about an hour and I'm still like kind of groggy and sleepy. So figure I'll hop on here and see what y'all are up to, man. What y'all up to? What is good? What is good? I sit around here in the mornings and I watch some old school shit, old school YouTube shit, man. I don't know how long you all have been into YouTube, but my YouTube days go all the way back to 2010. And I know that it's been around longer than that, but that's when I first stumbled upon it. When I first, because I don't know, it just never really caught my interest back when it first came out. Didn't it come out in like '08 or '09? Well, I was sitting around playing around on the internet in 2010 when I was like, let me just go look at this YouTube and see what's on there, you know? And then I got addicted to it at that point, you know? And back in the day, the old school YouTube days, man, it was nothing like it is now. Nothing like it is now. It was completely different. And I used to watch Equals Three. Remember, yeah, I don't know any old school YouTubers. I used to watch Equals Three. That was a favorite of mine. McFry, the Arch Fiend, and some. I just been here the past few mornings. I've been getting up and I've been searching my old people I used to watch way back in the day, and a lot of them are still active. A lot of them are still active. You know, which blows my mind. The funny thing though that really blew my mind when I first saw it is that all those old people I used to follow, like 90 to 95% of the people that I was a fan of way back in the day, my channel is way bigger than theirs now. You know? And I thought that felt pretty bizarre. Really bizarre, you know? I was like, man, dude, I used to like idolize you back in the day and you only got 80,000 subscribers, you know? But back in the day, that was a lot. You know, you were like considered YouTube famous back then if you had 80,000, 100,000 subscribers, something like that, you know? But it's just still cool to get on here and look back way back in the day, you know? Anyway, though, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing while I'm trying to wake up. What are you all up to this morning? Oh, trying to deal with your daughter. That's no good. I got a troublesome daughter too. Oh man. Yeah, my youngest. Whew, man. She's little me, my little twin. So I feel you on that. I feel you that on that. We had to she got some punishment last night. She gets and that's the thing, man. It's like my kids get warnings. When I was a kid, I didn't get no warnings. I didn't get no warnings. I was raised by my grandparents, real old school. Dude, I said one thing slick, I didn't even see it coming. Bow! You know, that's how I was raised. And my kids just get so many warnings and warning after warning. And I feel bad. I'm thinking, well, I don't want to keep the cycle going, you know, like when I was a kid. You know, I'm always constantly going inside, like, okay, how do I break the cycle? You know, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to, you know, break the pattern of events that have been running in our family. And so that can be tricky sometimes. That can be real tricky. Because man, I got a little female me in the house. You know, actually, to be all the way real with you, I was worse. I was worse. I was way worse. So that's the funny thing. And I always find man, she's just a little female me. What do I do, man? When I was a kid, boy, man, oh, I didn't get no warnings. I didn't get no. My sister didn't either. No, nobody. Because we were raised by our grandparents, old school. I don't know. Hang on just a second. I'm gonna grab my lighter. Get some sage and some incense going. Get some sage and some incense. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of interesting theories that sound they sound pretty legit to me. That that's part of the programming of creating chaos. It's been decades in planning, making it like illegal to discipline your kids, creating chaos in the family to where it's illegal to discipline your kids, Shit. I mean, I don't know when that all started. I grew up in the 90s. I'm kind of thinking that most of that stuff had been phasing out by then. But I was one of those people that, I was brought up in an old school household, old school family. You know what I mean? So you got to think, if I was raised by my grandparents in the 90s, they raised their kids in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they grew up in the 50s. So, yeah, those are the kind of what do you call it? Values that I was raised with, But once they got too old to control me, I went out of control. That's where I think they went wrong with me, After a certain point, especially when I became a teenager, they became too old to control me. They couldn't, But I don't know. You got a daughter tough in her 30s? Wow. That's a bummer. When you're in your 30s, why? Come on, man. This is one thing that I've been helping Leah with, because she's about to turn 29 next week, I think. The 14th, she turns 29, and she's going through all these changes in her head. Like, I'm not interested in doing these types of things anymore. I feel like I'm going through all these crazy changes in my head. And I'm like, your 20s are winding down and coming to an end. This is what's going on, Your 20s, man, once you reach your 30s, I personally feel like, not just with me, but with everybody I've observed, it's like, when you're in your 20s, that's just the beta stage. That's like the beta testing stage for your adult life, This is where you're going to make the vast majority of your fucking mistakes. You're going to do the vast majority of your stupid ass shit, It's just the beta testing phase. And then once those mid 20s, 25 goes away, and then you start creeping up into 27, 28, 29, you're coming up to a crossroads. This is the way I see it. You're coming up to a crossroads. And it's like, either evolve to the next stage or go back down and repeat all that bullshit all over again, And then spend your 30s doing the same stupid ass shit you were doing in your 20s, So that's the way I see it, That's the way I see it. And maybe that's what happens at the end of every decade. Maybe once your 30s start winding down and coming to an end, your 40s is a totally different. I'm sure there's some level of that keeps consistently happening all the decades throughout your life. But I've seen people in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s who just keep spinning around in that same circle over and 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 over. My whole life, I always had friends older than me. I never planned it that way. I could never really, truly, genuinely connect with somebody my age. Never been able to. So when I was a teenager, I was hanging out with people 10, 20 years older than me. And so when I'm like 18, 19, I'm hanging out with people 29, 30, some of them even 38 to 40. And I'll look back sometimes. I'll look them up on Facebook or, and I'll look and it's like, dude, you're still doing the same things we were doing back in our 20s. What the hell, man? Or when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like most people aren't big fans of evolving and changing. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Yeah, I feel you. Not to engage. Yeah, yeah, that is the best thing to do. Not to engage. Yeah, because whatever you engage in, you're agreeing with. Whatever you engage in, you're agreeing with. You're agreeing to some level, vibrationally to partake in that. Whatever it is, whatever you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about, but I'm very much a do not engage type of person. You know, I got my little energy field here. You know, I built my little empire, my life and whatnot. And, if it doesn't suit the highest good of me, my family, or my little empire, then just disengage, you know? Now, if you want to join in and whatnot, then come on, you're welcome. But if not, deuces. You know what I mean? Makes sense. Oh, but anyway. Anywho. Mm. Change comes with hitting 30s and again at 40s. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the majority of us have the opportunity to change anytime that we want. But one of the things that I'm noticing, especially with what I do for a living, like I've said this a million times, like my real job, is that I've noticed that a lot of people don't know how to change, you know, because they're like most people are like a fish in water. Even people who want to change. I've even witnessed people who genuinely want it. They really want it. And as you give them the guidance and the help, they can't grasp it. They can't grasp anything outside of their own little fishbowl of thoughts and emotions and bias and preference, and they don't understand that in order to change, you have to change your mind. You have to change the way you think, you know? You have to change your mind, the way you think, the way you look at the world. And it's kind of heartbreaking sometimes because you can't change anybody for them. The only thing you can do is explain to them how it works. But like for example, we were talking about this the other day when I was in the gym with Coach Drew. So my last gym session, we did a check-in. The first check-in I've done since October. Okay, we did a check-in in October, and all throughout November we did not check in at all. And then we did another check-in, and I have lost the most body fat. I'm down in the teens, and I have the most muscle mass that I've had this entire time. Because he's got the little thing where you step on it, and then you grab the little sensors, and it reads your body fat and all that shit. I told him, I was like, well, throughout this process, and this is the same thing with anything in life, I had to say to myself, okay, you know what? The goal is not to get thin and fit. That's not my goal. That's not my goal. That's the manifestation. The manifestation is a result of the frequency. So what I have to do is I have to change my frequency. So my frequency has to be, this is just what I do. Who cares? I don't even care if I never get thin and never get fit. This is what I do. I go to the gym. This is the new me. This is my new norm. Even if I never lose a pound, who cares? I'm just a guy that goes to the gym. This is just what I do. See what I'm saying? Same thing. And like he's been doing really, really good with his financial manifestations. It's so cool, the little relationship that we have, because we coach each other. Every gym session is we coach each other. And I've been coaching him through, the manifesting finances, and we've been working together, he's built his own business. He's now making more money than he's ever made in his entire life. And I've been coaching him through that while he's been coaching me through fitness. It's like a give and take thing that we have every session. And I was telling him, I was like, it's the same thing with manifesting financial abundance. Who gives a shit if I'm ever a multimillionaire? Who cares? I don't even give a shit. The point is that I live life on my own terms and I work for myself. I will never go back and be an employee ever again. I will never work for another person. That's the goal. The goal is freedom. The goal is freedom. That's the thing. It's not money. The goal is freedom. I do what I love and I live life on my own terms. That's the goal, you know? And then once you get onto that frequency, that's when the money starts pouring in to support that frequency. You see what I'm saying? So, how to explain that to people who really want to see a change in life? That is my goal. That's my life's work. That is like all I spend my time thinking about is how to help people understand that, you know? Because now again, I'm not talking to the people who don't want to change. There's plenty of those out there. There are plenty of those people out there that don't want to change and they want to just make excuses and no, you just got lucky and no, it's my mom's fault or they, those people. I'm not talking about them at all. I'm talking about the people that really want it, that really want it. You know, how do we help explain it to those people? That's my job. That's my goal. That's all I care about. That's all I care about, really, for real. Now, I don't think air signs are really stubborn, but I am as an Aquarius, a fixed air sign. I've never met a stubborn Gemini, unless they got something fixed in their chart. I know a Gemini who, okay, yeah, I do know a Gemini with a Scorpio moon who can be kind of stubborn sometimes, but that's not the air that's stubborn. No, no. I can be stubborn because I'm a fixed sign. I'm a fixed sign, you know. But I got a lot of mutable energy in my chart too, you know. My moon and rising are both mutable Virgo. So maybe that's the reason why I have the ability to be flexible, you know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Fixed Earth. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Taurus. That's the one. That's the one. That's the hardest to get moving. But for one thing that I've noticed from Taurus people, like how do I? Well, this is any fixed sign. It's really difficult to get a fixed sign moving in a different direction. But once it does, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. You know. I'm very familiar with Taurus energy. Very familiar. That's probably one of the signs I'm most familiar with because I was born of two Tauruses. My mother and my father were both Taurus. My mom, I've told you before, left my dad years ago and went gay and got with a woman. She's been with a woman. I think they're legally married too. And the woman she's with is a Taurus. The mother of my kids is a Taurus. You know, I'm pretty familiar with that energy and how it affects people, you know? Um, and one thing that I that I determined a while back is that it's usually not too terribly good for me to get too close to that energy, you know, just because I'm fixed too. I'm fixed too, you know, because whenever you have two fixed signs, usually you have to have like, I don't know, we have to have a meeting in the middle somewhere of okay, you got your way, I got my way. Let's stop it right there. You know, you got your opinion, I got mine. Let's just keep it there. You know what I mean? Because man, you get two fixed signs going at it, it ain't never gonna stop. It ain't never gonna stop. You know, and you have to be aware of that. And see, I don't care what your sign is. When you're aware, when you're the one aware during an interaction, when you're the one that's aware of, okay, well, I'm an Aquarius, you're a Taurus. Okay, I'm aware of that. You probably aren't. I got to take it upon myself to be the energy mediator here. You know, because if you, one thing, and I think is funny, is that people who aren't aware of or don't believe in or don't know anything about astrology are always the ones that are the textbook version of their sign. Ever notice that? You ever notice that? I'm telling you, go find somebody that doesn't believe in astrology. Oh, I don't believe in that mumbo jumbo. Go find one of those and watch. They are the textbook version of their sign every time. Every time. Every time. Textbook. I mean, straight out of the textbook, dude. Every time. And it just kind of makes you want to bash your head against the wall because it's like, dude, you fit this description. It's almost like you're enacting this description. You know what I mean? And it's funny, but I think it's because when your level of understanding, when you don't have a level of understanding with anything, you know, you vibrate lower than it does, you know? And especially if you don't have an understanding. I know you all have heard this a million times, but you're going to tell me that you fully believe and accept that the moon can pull the fucking ocean to shore. But you don't think it has anything you don't think it has any effect on your brain? You are an idiot. You a dumbass. You can look around and see the effects of the sun on the planet. You can look around and point to it, you know? You don't think that has any effect on your brain? You a special kind of dumbass, aren't you? You retarded. No, they're not stupid. I think they're just afraid. I think they're just afraid, you know? They're afraid. Afraid to accept something that goes against their belief systems. Afraid to accept something that may be a little bit difficult to grasp onto and understand, you know? But anyway, I'm babbling. I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, afraid of the unknown. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, afraid of the unknown. Hmm. Man, I love the unknown. I love it. I love it. You know, I love it. I just don't really understand how any individual can think that this is all there is. Like you don't have to dig too deep to figure out that they already have the tools and the technology to prove that our senses are so fucking weak that there's more going on than what our senses can pick up. So you don't have to dig very deep at all to figure that out. That's been very open public knowledge for a very long time. So some of your favorite scientists can tell you straight up that your senses aren't very strong. You don't pick up on very much as a human. You know, our human, these are like some of the weakest senses of any being on this planet. And you can hear that and be like, nope, that's all there is. All that exists is what I can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. You know, like, are you scared? What are you scared of? Scared of what? Scared of what? I don't understand the being afraid of the unknown, because once you know it, it can't hurt you. It can hurt you worse when you don't know it. You know, like I want to know the unknown because I'm kind of scared of the unknown too, but I'm not scared of knowing it and understanding it. I'm scared of not knowing it and not understanding it. So wouldn't that make perfect sense to dive in and learn as much as you can possibly learn about whatever this is you're afraid of accepting? That's just me. That's just me. Probably my airhead ass. You know, I'm an air sign. Yeah, that's probably just me being an airhead. I don't know. That's just the way I look at it, though. That's the way I look at it. Our energy picks up. Yeah, yeah. Well, we've been programmed to ignore it. We've been programmed very strategically and deliberately programmed for decades to ignore our senses picking up these other things, you know. Oh, it's just your imagination. Oh, you know what I mean? We've been programmed to ignore that. And in all fairness, that was part of the game. Okay. This is one of the biggest things that Naya helped me out with in all of my entire journey, you know. It was part of the game. Okay, this game that we're in right now, or that we were born into and brought up in, was constructed very intentionally with a very specific reason. Okay, and the reason and the intention behind this game was to be able to get a massive number of creator God entities in amnesia under the illusion that they're completely isolated and alone down to the lowest frequencies of 3D that it can possibly get to, and then raise up out of it. That was the point of the game. So all these systems that are put in place were put there very intentionally, and we knew about it before we came in here. You knew you were going to come in here and forget who you were. That was the point of the game. And I think a lot of us didn't really believe it. A lot of us didn't really believe it. Oh, no, that won't work on me. That won't work on me. I'll go play that little human game. Whatever. I'll never fall for that. I'll never fall for that bullshit. Let's go play. Come on. And then you get in here and you're like, what the fuck is this place? You know? And like I said, and I've really been, we talked about this a couple of months ago and I just dropped it and haven't brought it back up. But when I was a kid, it was like unspoken common sense in my mind that there's some, I don't know how to word it, like a place. I don't even want to call it a place, but like there's a place, for want of a better word, there's this place that I will be returning to that I miss, you know? And that doesn't even really do it justice again, but those are the only terms that I can think of. There's this place that I miss that I'll be returning to, and that was like not even on the table for debate. That was just common sense in my head when I was a kid. And then it went away. It went away, especially throughout my teenage years, all throughout my 20s. And it's been coming back here over the past couple of years, you know, and really intense here this year, 2021. It's been really intense of like, and it's not a place, but it's a level of awareness that's outside of this skin suit, It's the only thing that I can think, It's a level of perception that's not through these goggles of this character, this rich lop guy who, it's not this, it's not me. But I'll be returned. And it's so strange, man. I don't even know how to. That probably sounds really stupid and really psycho. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know how to explain it, but it's been hitting me much, much harder here this past year. Really thinking back, and it was in my mind as a kid, went away, and now it's coming back. I mean, memories of, I don't know if it's a place or I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. It's so weird. And I've been sitting with it a lot. I don't know. I might have just totally butchered that. Y'all might be just confused, like, what the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, that was well said. Okay. Okay, because I can't think of any words to describe it that really give it justice. But it's, I don't know. Anyway, I guess we can scrap that because I can't think of any other words to give it that. It's like I have memories of events that weren't lived in this lifetime, memories of little flash memories of scenery but again, it wasn't just memories of a place. It was memories of being somebody that I'm not. It's not me. That makes sense? I don't know. I'll do what I've been doing since the last time we talked about this is I've been trying to think of a better way to explain it. And I'm really not a big fan of talking about things that I can't explain. I think that's a big Aquarius thing too. Big Aquarius thing. You know how people say that Aquarians are know-it-alls? I don't really think Aquarians are know-it-alls. I think most Aquarians that I've met just only talk about things that they know about. And don't even touch subjects that if they don't know about it, they're not going to talk about it. At least that's me, So for me to try to sit and talk about and explain something that I can't think of a good way to explain it, I'll try to think of a better way to explain it, and then we'll talk about it later. Because no, I'm not going to go anywhere with that. Anyway, some of y'all probably know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah, it's a different life than I've lived before. Yeah. Probably. Yep. Absolutely. Deja vu. Yeah. But my deja vu, my deja vu has always been weird. Okay. Because it's not, I've been here and I've done this before. I have experienced that, and I still do from time to time. But whenever I'll just experience these, like everything freezes. And I start having memories of something or some things, and they're like multi-layered and multi-dimensional memories of a bunch of different lifetimes happening at the same time. A bunch of different, I don't even know how to explain it, dude. It's like, it'll just stop me in my tracks. And I'm like, and I'll have like a bunch of different memories of hit me all at the same time. It's bizarre, dude. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to put words to it. That's another irritating thing about this game too, that keeps us in amnesia. Okay, that's another irritating thing. Is okay, your language is going to be very fucking limited, So if that's the only thing that you communicate with is this very limited language, you won't even be able to explain who you really are. So you'll definitely forget who you are and never be able to pull those memories up. I think that was the point of the game, You've been experiencing that your entire life. Well, that's cool. Makes me feel less weird. Makes me feel less weird. Of course, again, I most of you that agree with that or you understand that, I don't think any of us are long-term karmic humans. I don't think we're long-term. I don't think I am. I'm like, well, not only Naya told me when I met her, when I met and hung out with Naya, she could just look at somebody and say, "Yep, that's a human. That's a star seed." She could just point it out. And she told me the vast majority of the aspects that make up me, whatever that means. This is my first lifetime here, you know. So it makes sense as to any time in my life I've ever experienced any kind of karmic tie or created any kind of karmic tie or been energetically tied to anybody. It's much easier. Yeah, it's much easier and makes more sense to just untie from it, transmute the energy, and move on from it. Where you see what most people do is they come together with somebody, get all tangled up energetically, and then they just don't do anything about it. They just go about their life tied up to this person, and they just keep getting tied to these people and they don't do anything with it. I couldn't imagine that, man. It blows my mind just thinking about that. Dreams about disasters. Oh, well, yeah. That's no good. Yeah, everything is simultaneous. Yeah. But whenever you actually remember it like that, it's very, very frustrating. Because, okay, so another thing to me is that I always told myself, I'm going to figure out a way to explain things in a way that nobody's ever explained it. Doing that, to be that guy has been eating up at me for years. It's been eating me alive. I want to be able to explain things about spirituality, about manifestation, about remembering who we are, about awakening to our power. I want to be able to figure out how to explain these things in a way that nobody ever has, because that would bother me. I'd be on my path. When I was on my path of evolution in my spiritual path, when it began, which you all know pretty much began in a homeless shelter, I would get frustrated. I would get really frustrated because I would go searching and listening to and watching and doing research and all this. And it's just like, man, you're not explaining it very well. And I would always tell myself, all right, as soon as I figure this out, I'm going to explain it better than you did. And then get to the next level, and I was just like you all, going to people on the internet for guidance. And I always told myself, as soon as I figure this out, I'm going to explain it better than you did to other people who are on the path like me. Because I could see it being real easy to just get frustrated and give up. But I'm too hungry for knowledge. Whenever I want to know something, I don't sleep until I learn it. If I want to figure something out, I cannot rest until I fucking figure it out. So I just assume that that's most people on the path, they feel the same way, I would think, right? So we need some people out there that make this path a little bit easier, to smooth this path out. So hang on a second. I'm gonna open my window. Anyway, it's finally starting to get chilly here in Vegas. Finally starting to get chilly. Finally. Next week, we're going to have some cold days. I'm like, yes, I've been waiting for it, man. Been waiting for it. Yeah, you do have, yeah. You have to understand what you want to explain, but I like to be able to meet people at their level of understanding and then connect and be able to help you understand it. But of course, another thing too is you have to want to understand it. You have to want to understand it. That's another big thing. It's so super easy to get hung up, and I'm a human too. I get hung up on this too. We sometimes we'll get hung up on wanting somebody to understand something that they don't want to understand. They're dedicated to not understanding it. But I see that It would really help you out if you understood this. That struggle that you're going through. Listen to me. I can't sit and watch you struggle knowing what you need to do and just not say something. It's really easy to get hung up on that. You can't get hung up on that, man. You can't. And I know how frustrating it is, dude. I know how frustrating it is, seeing somebody going through something, especially if you've been through it. Not only have I been through that, I've been through that and I work my way up out of it. Please take my advice. And they just fight you every step of the way. You got to let them do it, man. You got to let go and back off, and that can be incredibly frustrating. But we have to remember that that entity came here to experience that for a very specific reason. They're creator gods too. They know what they're doing, and they came here to play a very specific game for a very specific reason. You just got to let them do it, Just got to let them do it. Yeah, I know that irritates me too. Most people just talk about it and don't break it down. Yeah. Yeah, that irritates me. Well, and one thing that I think a lot of people do is they talk about things they don't really understand. That's a big thing that irritates me, and it's horrible in the spiritual community. You got a lot of mockingbirds out there, and typically, usually for the most part, they don't really ever go anywhere. I think most of these people, they are just trying to get popular on the internet. Or they're just, you know what I'm saying, and what they do is they just go say things that they heard other people say. I'm going to go use a lot of fluffy terms, and you can tell. I can spot it a mile away. Like, man, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't have a damn clue what you're talking about. You're just saying shit that you think you understand to try to look cool and try to get popular. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. This isn't about being popular and all this bullshit that everybody, we're here to help ascend the collective consciousness of humans. Okay. That's what we're here to do. That's the whole point. Eventually, my job is going to be completely obsolete. Eventually. At some point in time, my job is going to be completely and totally obsolete. And good. It's supposed to. Because if 10 years down the line, we still have the whole population of the planet looking for guidance and having to learn manifestation. And you know what I mean? If 10 years down the line, people are still coming to people like me for guidance, we haven't made a single fucking step in the right direction. Oh no, we have not. Oh no. My goal is to make my job obsolete. That's the goal. That is the goal. To make my job and my teachings become obsolete. That's the whole goal. Because as soon as everybody on this planet awakens to their own power, my job is not needed. So, yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, we do have a problem. I don't know why I hid that comment. Oh, it disappeared. Oh, well. Yeah, we do have a problem. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it is a problem. If 10 years from now, in 2031, if we still have people, how do I manifest my life partner? We got a problem. We got a big problem. It's supposed to be mainstream common sense, and it will be. Because I see it. I see it happening at a very fast pace. People having a level of understanding that just 2, 3, 4 years ago was completely unheard of, and I'm starting to see it now in numbers that make me like, thank you. So glad, so glad. And it's pretty much to the point now where the only people who aren't awakening are the people that don't want to. They don't want to. No, they don't want to. For whatever reason, I don't know if they just want to stay in the 3D experience or if, I don't know. I don't know why I could not imagine wanting to stay in 3D frequencies, stay in that third dimensional state your entire life. I couldn't imagine that, man. Couldn't imagine. I didn't like 3D. I hated it. Oh, it sucked. Like I said, I love my story. It's a very neat story. Man, it was not fun. I would not want to go back and repeat my story. I would not. I would not. I did not think 3D was fun. I would not want to go back and experience 3D. And what I mean by 3D is, I mean, that's the vibrational state you're in, you know, that vibrational state of anxiety and panic and turmoil and just misery, just a state of misery, of constant misery. Oh, I would not want to go back to that. But there's some people that do. It's like they love it. They love it, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder whether or not I'm glad I'm awake, because when I do think back to before my spiritual awakening happened, it kind of seems like maybe there were some things that were a little bit easier to deal with back then. I don't know. It's kind of just like an equal trade-off. Kind of an equal trade-off. I think I'm glad I'm awake too, but there were a lot of things that were much easier to deal with back then. They were much easier to deal with. But whenever you're awake and aware of your energy, especially, and what your energy is doing, it's almost like back in the day. For example, Mercury retrograde. This is just an example. Back in the day, it's not that it didn't affect me, but it's just like, if I think back, wow, Mercury retrograde, how did I react to that back before I knew what it was? I don't know. I probably just thought I was having a really bad day and would just go on an alcohol bender. That's probably what. I would just be like, man, I need to get high. Man, I need to get drunk. Because that's all I did was I drank and did drugs back in the day. So, but now when you're aware of it, it's almost like it puts an extra responsibility on your shoulders. It's like it puts this extra, okay, you're aware of this now. Now you got more work to do type shit. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to say I agree, though. I would have to say that I agree. Oh, the coin trick. Yeah, I get bored, man. I get bored. When you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, how to do coin tricks and shit like that. Just look it up. You'll see. Yeah, I wasn't aware. I mean, nobody really was. Nobody really was at one point. I don't know. Some people I think are born fully awake and aware. I think some people are. Very few, but some people are. Anyway, though. Well, yeah. I think, though, that me waking up at a young age was the plan. Like I said, when I look back, to me, all right, think about it. Every last one of you who is spiritually awake, I would feel very safe betting that we all have one thing in common. What led you to your spiritual awakening? What was it? What inspired your spiritual awakening? Trauma. Something traumatic. Stress. All right? We wake up under stress, pressure, and trauma. Because if we're just flitting around the planet, frolicking through life, rainbows and unicorn farts, and our life is just so beautiful and so pretty, and our love life is just great. We just have this wonderful love life, and I love what I do for a living, and I make more than enough money to provide my family and be comfortable, and everything is beautiful in my life. Why would I wake up? What would be the point? See what I'm saying? What would be the point of awakening? You know what I mean? I woke up. I think it's just like the universe put me in a position to where I didn't really have a choice. It's either wake up or die. And that may sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm really not. It was really that bad. It was really getting to the point of life and death with me. Like either wake up or die. Either wake up or never see your kids again type shit, So I don't know. It almost is as cool as it sounds for me to say I'm lucky. On the other hand, man, sometimes when you get to looking back and connecting all the dots of your life, you can't help but look at it like it was all planned out. I just cannot help but look back at my life and the way everything unfolded. And I was talking to Coach Drew because he was saying the same thing. He was saying the same thing. He's like, man, one thing that I'm noticing is I'm thinking back on some of the things that happened to me. Like, man, I'm glad that happened or I wouldn't be here today. And I was like, dude, that is the funnest part of the whole fucking journey. That's the best part. That's how you know that you're on a roll that's unstoppable. That's how you know. Whenever you get to the point where you're looking back, especially at bad things that happen to you, and you're thankful for it, and you're like, dude, I'm so glad that thing happened because I wouldn't be able to do what I do today if it wasn't for that. That right there, you got to grab onto that because now you're unstoppable. Now nothing's stopping you. Nothing. Nothing. Because there's nothing that can happen to you that you can't overcome. Because once you're able to look back on all of your previous mess ups and screw ups and bad things that happened to you and all these things, and you see the bigger reason why it happened, now any obstacle that gets thrown in your face, you're good. You're good because you know, oh, okay, this is part of the journey. This is part of the process. Okay, can't wait to see how this plays out later on down the line, you know? And yeah, but I forgot. I had a landing point there with that, but I forgot. What were we talking about? Anyway, yeah, that's the funnest part of the whole journey, dude. That's the funnest part. Now, and it was so cool. It made me feel so good when Coach Drew said that to me. I was like, yes, that's it right there. That is it. That's the magic key element. You know, that's it right there. Because those of you who are on a manifestation path, and I'm only talking to you all specifically, those of you who have been walking a path to manifest a better life for yourself, to, you know, maybe manifest the career that aligns with your highest good or whatever, you will eventually get to that point. You'll get to it where you look back and you're like, dude, that thing that happened to me 5 years ago, I'm so fucking glad that happened. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for that. And as soon as you have that moment of clarity, you got to grab onto that. You got to grab onto that because now you see that everything in your life, everything that happened and everything that is happening, you know, whenever we don't do that, I use my connect the dots analogy. Y'all ever heard me use that one? It's like your entire life is a connect the dots puzzle. You know, when you first get one of those on a piece of paper, it just looks like this big mess of dots and you can't tell what the hell it is. Once you start connecting the dots, the picture starts coming in. It starts becoming clear. You can see what it is. You can tell what it is. And each dot is an experience in your life, you know? So what we do is we get to a dot we don't like. So we try to forget about that and not accept it. I don't like that dot. I don't want that dot. That was a bad thing that happened to me. So we skip around it. We skip around it, or we try to erase it or bury that dot. And then when we get used to doing this, you know, we do this through almost every dot we experience in our life that we don't like. Then whenever we're adults, you know, you're in your 30s, 40s, and you're not where you want to be in life, you look back, you look at the picture of your life so far and it looks messed up because there's all these missing dots. And you have to go in and you have to say, okay, that dot, that thing that happened, that fucking sucked. But I see how it fits into the picture. And we got to go back and we got to start reconnecting all of the dots. You know, does that make sense? Now, it makes sense. Now the picture is coming into perspective. Now I see. You know, that doesn't mean that if somebody did something bad to you, that it's okay. That doesn't mean that whatever traumatic experience that you had is no big deal and you should just get over it. That's not what it means. What it means is there is a much bigger, deeper reason and meaning for everything that you've experienced, you know? Super cool. Super cool. Made me feel real cool to hear somebody that I've been training and coaching get to that point, you know? And I don't even think he realized it. He didn't do it on purpose. But I was like, hold on to that. Hold on to that, you know? And those of you, whenever you reach that point, hold on to that and don't let go of that because that's your entire journey. That's how your whole journey is going to happen. You know, now any obstacle that gets thrown at me, any obstacle, doesn't matter what it is, the minute it happens, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, cool. I can't wait to see how this plays out in the future. And this is thinking on a quantum level, because the first thing you do is you connect to that version of you in the quantum field who already overcame this obstacle. See what I'm saying? Because that possibility is out there. It's out there. There's also a version of you out there that didn't overcome it and is still, stuck in those low, thick frequencies. But the minute you start connecting those dots of the past, that's when you learn how to connect the dots of the future. And that's when you learn how to grab out there and connect to that version of you that overcame every obstacle you've been through and climbed every mountain that you've come across and ended up very successful in life. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, man, I've been babbling so long. I'm going to have to get out of here in a couple of minutes. This 50 minutes done flew by. Anyway, though, I love doing this. It's about breakfast time, though. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, it is possible to have to, for lessons to get thrown at you over and over and over. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I think back on my life and yeah, when the universe wants me to learn a lesson, it'll keep throwing it at me over and over and over and over until I finally get it. And you know what it is every single time? Every time. It's something that I need to work on in myself, something that I need to work on. This is one of the hardest parts too. This is one of the hardest things because it gives off the illusion that something is happening to you, And I'm not saying that this thing isn't happening to you, but the universe is doing it for a reason, and that's to shine a big spotlight on the thing you need to heal, We get too wrapped up in I'm a victim of this thing that's happening to me, or this person that keeps treating me this way, or I just keep repeating the same scenario everywhere I go, at every job that I work. What it is it's the universe shining a big spotlight on something in here that needs to heal. Oh, okay. So it's not the thing happening that's the problem. It's my response to it. It's such a pain in the ass when that happens. Such a pain in the ass, but it's always worth it to overcome it, Okay. All right. Well, what if this thing could happen to me and not bother me? What if I was unaffected? What would that feel like? Could I imagine that? Could I imagine this thing happening to me and me responding differently? It's pretty cool. Just a thought. Anyway, though, y'all, it is about time for me to go ahead and hop on out of here. I'm getting super, super hungry and I want to go grab a bite to eat. Not sure what I'm going to do on my main channel today. Definitely, I'm going to make it a point to get the weekly forecast done. And if I have enough energy, I might try to finish the bonuses. Anyway, though, I'm out of here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening to me blab. You enjoy the rest of your day.